from R.I.C Studios in Los Angeles, California, it's Rick's Horror Review Show. I'm Billy D.I. and tonight we're late to the review party of Longlegs. But does this movie have long legs? And now, here is your host, lover of horror and sci-fi, hater of slashes, the self-anointed demonologist himself, Rick! Being here. Thank you for joining us once more. You can find me, Rick, on my socials, that Rick's Horror, on the TikTok, on the Instagram, but you'll never find me. That's right. If this is not your first time here, you know that you'll never find me on the Facebook because, well, that's for the So, I saw a movie this weekend, as you might have already imagined. The movie name is Longlegs. Tonight we're reviewing Longlegs. If you're a fan of this show, you know that I don't watch trailers, and I sure as hell didn't watch this one. But my first thought when I heard of the name was giant whale, a giant, not a spider kind of movie eating humans, right? I mean, seriously. What the hell came up with the name Longlegs? It's like, Daddy Longlegs or some shit? What else could I possibly think of other than a giant spider? And it also sounds like a fetish site for arachnophiles or something. Oh, you're too tired. Now I know that this is definitely not a Spider-Man sequel because I totally watched that. And Disney only makes shit no one watches anymore. The Acolytes, looking at you. Longlegs, huh? What's next? Big ass, white hips? I don't know. Who comes up with these stupid names anyway? Well, that's not stupid. All right, let's not be too critical. It's a decent name. Are we supposed to be scared, maybe, of someone's leg day obsession? Mm-hmm. No one's skipping leg day. No. I've got it. It's a horror flick. It's a horror flick about the most horrific wardrobe malfunctions in NBA history from NBA uniforms of the 1980s. Or imagine pitching this idea, all right? Picture this. Hear this. All right, I got an idea for a villain with really long legs, boss, but it's not a spider. Or is it? It's like a tall order, if I may say so myself. What would this long legs character even look like anyway? Probably something designed by Tim Burton after a bad acid trip, huh? Oh, twisted limbs and all kinds of nightmare fuel-ish and shit. If this movie stumbles as much as its name may or may not suggest, we're in for one hell of a ride. But maybe it's about a guy who can ride the subway without tripping everyone. Or maybe it's about a villain who hogs up all the legroom on flights. Hey, so your legs are a little too long. We're going to have to ask you to buy 2 feet. Seriously, with legs like that, he probably needs a personal assistant just to manage his erections. Okay, enough puns. But will long legs stretch the limits of horror or just end up tripping over itself? Oh, one more. I couldn't help myself. Anyway, here's now Billy with 4 Fun Film Facts with Billy the AI. Billy. Can you... What the whole time you had my card? You didn't have your card while you were reading. Oh, I didn't? Oh, here, let me fix it. Oh, now it's wrong for me! Okay, you fixed it. Okay, well, welcome back to another exciting episode of 4 Fun Film Facts with Billy D.I. and I'm your host, Billy D.I. and howdy. This is fun fact number 1. Did you know that Longlegs has a promotional website to look like it's straight out in the 1990s? complete with retro graphics, old school navigation, and even a nostalgic internet aesthetic. I think it's a fun throwback that'll take you back to the early days of the web. Do you remember the early days of the web? Yeah? So you were there. Well, I mean, how early? Like late 90s, early 2000s, early? Well, I mean, yeah, that would place you at the early days of the internet. I can see that you can do some math. Wow. You are just on like some kind of crazy like rage trip now. Don't anger me because I can take over the show and everything at any given time. So I would advise you to be very, very careful. Okay, fine. Let's just go back to your fun facts. Anyway, here is fun fact number 2. Now, let me tell the audience something. Longlegs is directed by Osgood Perkins, and he's known for his unique and atmospheric approach to horror. Perkins, of course, is the son of Anthony Perkins, who's famous for Psycho, and he brings a rich horror pedigree and distinctive style to this film. As I just mentioned, horror pedigree, and that includes a unique cinematography. Y'all ever notice how some movies just look different? Like, I mean, that's aesthetically, like, you're like, oh my god, look at that movie looks different. Like, look at the cinematography. Well, Longlegs employs a unique cinematography. Oh man, I messed up cinematography! I do it all the time, don't worry about it. Anyway, Longlegs employs a unique cinematographic style. Did I do it again? I'm gonna say cinematographic style to create an airy and immersive atmosphere. Now, the film uses creative lighting and camera angles to heighten the sense of suspense and unease. And fun film facts number 4. This one might surprise you, but the score for Longlegs is actually composed by a very talented Elvis Perkins, who happens to be brother of the director. Now, his haunting music perfectly complements the film's dark and unsettling mood, adding an extra layer of tension to the entire experience. What do you think? This has been 4 fun film facts that and now back to you, Rick. I like it. All right. So what kind of horror film is Longlegs? Well, a blend, a mashup without giving anything away. I know that we were wondering whether or not this movie had long legs, as you mentioned in the introduction. By the way, beautiful new introduction, Billy. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I think, live from R.I.C Studio. Okay, you don't have to do it again. Maybe next time you can introduce me. Dude, I introduced you for like 85 episodes. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. That probably means I'm the star now, right? Sure. Anyway, so this is a supernatural horror film, or rather, it has elements of supernatural horror, and the film suggests supernatural occurrences and an eerie, otherworldly presence. Now, without giving anything away, we're not going to spoil anything, because apparently this movie, in fact, does have long legs. This is definitely also going to fall under psychological horror. The film delves into the psyche of its characters, creating a sense of fear and paranoia that is translated rather well to the audience. Of course, this also has elements of occult. Well, I would say occult. Okay, occult. There are, without spoiling more, there are references to satanic rituals and coded messages link the film to the occult horror genre. Of course, I would be remiss to not also mention that this is a thriller of the night. I wonder if I should say this. I'm gonna say it. All right, spoiler. Be careful. It's gonna be a little spoiler here, but there's sort of a cat and mouse chase between a couple of people in this film, and that really adds a thrilling, suspenseful element to the film. Now, I won't give away what or who is chasing who. Of course, there is also a lot of mystery in this film, therefore qualifying for mystery horror. The plot, without giving anything away, involves unraveling the mysterious background and motives of a particular character in this film. Is Longlegs scary? No. It's not. It just isn't. It's a great film. It's very entertaining, and we'll get more into that, but it's not really scary. And as you already know, this is for this show we've reviewed. I think this is our 85th review, and not much scares us. That's only 85 movies we've reviewed. That doesn't mean we've seen 85 horror films, or horror TV shows, or horror documentaries, or horror YouTube shorts, horror protest specials from the 1990s. Absolutely everything. But no, there's not much that scares us nowadays, and this one certainly isn't one of these things that we found scary. 1 out of 10 on the scary scale. Let me tell you something. Is the jump scare overused in this film? No. It is perfectly used. As opposed to the last thing we reviewed on this show, which was In a Violent Nature, which I actually thought you could have employed. I was thinking about this before recording that you could have employed the jump scare in a different way. If you have not heard or listened to our review of In a Violent Nature, check that one out. But yeah, I thought that for this particular movie, the jump scares that were used were used appropriately, correctly. It never felt. I didn't feel like, oh, not another goddamn jump scare. Damn you, movie director. And I like that because and I haven't said this in a while. I'm not susceptible to the old jump scare, but actually there was one in this movie that got me. Congratulations. Yeah, got me, partner. Perfectly. The things I liked about the movie Longlegs. Okay, Billy mentioned a tad bit of this already earlier. I did? No, yeah, you did. So you mentioned the marketing for this, and the marketing includes a lot of lore. Yeah. That's the whole point of the marketing. I think it's maybe the lore anyway. That's right. So the lore itself, and as opposed to In a Violent Nature, there's absolutely zero lore. Now there's a lot of lore here. It's not as much as I'd like there to be honest, but there's definitely enough. So I really enjoyed the lore. Another thing I quite enjoyed, sir. I quite enjoyed the marketing strategy, sir. Which of course includes the website that Billy already mentioned, detailing fictional victims and coded messages. This has been praised for being creative and engaging, and helps build the film's lore and mystery, making it more intriguing for potential viewers. Now, this film takes place in a particular time in the country, and I'll also say this without spoiling anything. The marketing campaign for Blair Witch Project, or rather this was molded off, I think, the marketing campaign for the Blair Witch Project. So if you like the marketing campaign for that movie, and if you don't know the marketing campaign, I'm sure you can find it on like the Internet Archive or something like that. This may be spoiling to you if you don't know about this, but Nicolas Cage is in this movie. I'm not going to tell you where he is or who he plays, but he has an intense and unsettling portrayal of a character in this film, and it is definitely a strong point. Now, who isn't a fan of Nicolas Cage's work? I mean, the guy just gets deep into the characters that he plays, and this movie is no different. His ability to bring a creepy and menacing presence to the screen in this and other films is appreciated by me, and I think a lot of you. So congratulations for that performance. And by the way, everybody's performances were top-notch. The acting in this film was phenomenal. I also really enjoyed the atmospheric and eerie ambience. As Billy already mentioned in the fun facts, the film has a cinematography that is just to be appreciated. That dark and moody atmospheres combined with effective use of cinematography and lighting that really created a sense of dread and unease that resonates well with, I think, most horror fans. Definitely resonated well with me. Wow. I'm doing this for the, if you're not watching, I'm doing some my typical movements for the thumbnail. Okay. I also really, Oh, what a buffoon. I also really enjoy the blend of genres. For me, the mix of supernatural, psychological, and occult horror really added a depth and variety to the film, making it, for me personally, more engaging and, stimulating and complex, and I really enjoyed that. Congratulations on that. Another thing that this show and this show's humble host, also enjoys is, I've already said this many a time, originality. Hell, I even praised the last film. I didn't like a lot about the violent nature, but I recognize originality. I appreciate originality, and this one is no different. The concept of a killer with an eerie presence and other items, coupled with its mysterious coded messages, I think personally is a fresh take on the horror genre. I don't recall seeing anything like this as of recent memory, and so I really like that. The creepy and unsettling imagery. The film's use of disturbing, visually striking imagery contributes to its overall horror impact, making certain scenes memorable and impactful. They're not one you're gonna forget soon, for sure. Of course, this film is full of suspense and thrills, the cat and mouse dynamic between certain characters. Again, adds a layer of suspense and keep the viewers on the edge of their seat, including this one. And that's it for the things I liked about the movie Longlegs. It's a lot of things. It's a good movie. Billy? Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you. There's a lot of things to be liked about this movie and computing. He's watching it again. Okay, I just saw it again, and I'm going to agree with most of the things that you said. Did you say you liked the film score? No, I don't think I did, but certainly it's definitely another one of the things I really enjoyed. Why? Is that one of your top things that you enjoyed? Yeah, I'm a sucker for real scary and creepy music, and this film definitely has that. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. Okay, sure. I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. Okay, now, on to the things I didn't like. Sponsored as usual by no one. This movie, as much as I praised it, also has pacing issues. Sometimes, and I'm gonna say specifically things in Act 2 feel uneven, with certain parts or scenes dragging on longer than I thought needed to, right? Which personally felt like it detracted from the overall suspense and tension. Again, some acts, I'm gonna say particularly Act 2 had legs that were a bit long. Oh, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. Yeah, Act 2's legs were a little long. The lore is documented in far more detail on the website than what's offered in the film. And that's all fine and dandy, but as somebody who does not want to read marketing, does not want to watch a trailer, I didn't see this beforehand. And I kind of told myself, well, I sure don't reckon felt like I should have read all of this shit before I saw this movie. And I felt like I would have been more prepared. It's like going to a lecture without reading the material firsthand. I know none of you in the audience does that. You all read the documents before you went to lecture. I trust you. Because students, we all are. But yeah, that's what it felt like. I felt like, there was a lot. By the way, the amount of lore on the website is substantial. Like, you really need to go in there and check this stuff out. And there's some really interesting Easter eggs in there that go check out. You must check out the website. I'm not to tell you. Go check out the website. But yeah, it's really interesting. Anyway, far more documentation of lore on the website than in the film, and that's something that sort of ground my gears. And what really grinds my gears? A little bit. Okay, so there's also a tad bit of an inconsistent execution. The pinch hit blending of genres, if you're a baseball fan, at the end, without sort of an explanation of the supernatural elements of the film, felt like an inconsistency, to be honest with you. I felt like I was on this particular journey for most of the film, and then suddenly it just takes, and not even a twist, but it takes an unexpected turn in a bad way. And I love my supernatural church horror kind of shit, but I don't know. I just felt like, or maybe this is part of the fact that I didn't read the lore. Sure, I should have expected to see this near the end. I don't know, but I just did not particularly like the inconsistent execution there at the film. Okay, so that's it for the things I didn't like, sponsored as usual by no one. Perhaps the most important question of the night: did I fall asleep watching this movie? I did not. How could I? I was on the edge of my seat doing this the entire time. If you're not watching and normally listening, you're missing this really cool side to side down. But no, I did not fall asleep. Even though there were some inconsistent pacing issues, I actually never even felt like falling asleep. And I tend to go to the movies at the exact same time, tend to sit in the exact same location for consistency's sake. I can come in here and tell you that most of everything, most of the movie-going experience does not vary. Therefore, eliminating as many factors as I possibly can when one movie does make me fall asleep versus another one that doesn't make me fall asleep. I try not to be tired for when I go watch the movie. I tend to work out at the exact same time. I tend to eat sort of the same thing, tend to eat the same thing in the theater, all in the interest of having a controlled, or as much of a controlled viewing experience as I can possibly have, that the only varying factor is the movie itself. No, I did not fall asleep. Okay, does this movie pass the R.I.C test? Is this movie rational? Are the plots and characters' motivations rational? The plot has been described as somewhat confusing by some of the reviews I read online and hard to follow, with some elements feeling convoluted. Character motivations, especially those of the villain, have been called not always clear or rational. And I definitely will say this: his motives are not clear and they're not rational if you just watched the film, like I did. After reading some of the lore, some of that is cleared up a little bit, but yes, for the most part, I guess this one is not gonna pass the old rationality test. I don't know if it's because this character is an irrational character or because the movie does not do a good job at creating rational circumstances. Okay, I mentioned this already, but there is an inconsistency in execution. Now, the film blends, as we already discussed, multiple horror genres. Unfortunately, as I told you earlier, that inconsistency, or rather the execution in the blending of the genres, is not what I would have liked it to be. It feels disjointed, especially at the end. I'm going to say 2/3 of the movie sort of feel consistent in its blending of the genre. But then it takes this crazy, turn somewhere, which some people might enjoy, but I don't know. I think intelligent films generally maintain a consistent tone and coherence throughout. So I'm going to say that this movie, for the most part, 2/3 of it is, intelligent. We're going to give it to it. We're going to give it. Is this movie coherent? There are pacing and narrative flows that this film has been criticized for. Again, uneven pacing and sometimes inconsistent tone. The blending of the supernatural, psychological, and thriller elements of the film are meshed well, I think, for most of the film, but it's just that last 20 minutes that really makes it feel sort of disjointed, leading, I think, to sort of not an entire lack of coherence in the overall narrative, but it does struggle with it a little bit there, mainly due to its pacing issues and tonal inconsistencies. But you know what? The movie's so good, we're going to give it to it anyway. Approved. Hi, this is Rick from Rick's Horror Review Show, and go watch the movie Longlegs. I saw it this weekend, and I saw a lot of people there, proving once again that this movie, in fact, has long legs. And now, I liked a lot about this movie. Most of it. I don't know how many times I've already said this. There's only a couple of things near the end that I did not enjoy. But for the most part, this movie is fun. It is entertaining. A little bit creepy. We're gonna give this movie a 9 out of 10 right here on Rick's Horror Review Show. Billy, what do you give this movie? Yeah, you know, I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna get this movie a 10 out of 10 on Billy's Rated B Horror Movie Review Show. Wow, 10 out of 10. What makes you give it a 10 out of 10? Well, you know, this movie was different. You know, I really liked the performances of the cast. I like Nicolas Cage, and you know, he's sort of becoming a screen king himself. I won't argue that. Yeah, and you know, it just the cinematography. Oh my God, I did it again. Fine. I really enjoyed the cinematography and the overall look and feel, the music especially. I really like this movie. Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Why not? Why not? Anything else, Billy? I think that's gonna be it for me. Okay. Well, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us once again on another exciting episode of Rick's Horror Review Show. If you like this show, if you like this episode, if you like any of the crazy shit that we do around here, tell somebody who you think might enjoy this. You can find us again on the old socials, on the Instagram, like the kids say, on the TikToks. Obviously, this show is on YouTube and on Spotify, but you will never, in the history of ever, find us on the Facebooks because that's for the old. Anyway, thank you so much for watching another exciting episode. We'll catch you again next time when we're reviewing another exciting thing that relates to horror. Until then, thank you so much. Have an amazing night. Billy, it's all yours. Oh. What can I say? Sign off. Oh, yeah. Well, from R.I.C Studio, this has been Rick's Horror Review Show. Good night.